Hi, my name is Jacob. More than ever today, we find products advertising sugar-free replacements in our foods. With over 6,000 products today, you can't walk down the aisle of a grocery store or a vending machine without walking right by these products. With over a dozen types of artificial sweeteners on the market today, I'd like to focus on one of the most commonly used and widely discussed artificial sweeteners in our foods today, aspartame, also known as NutraSweet or Equal. Aspartame has gained a lot of attention in the recent years over questionability of whether it is harmful to the human health. It seems too good to be true that a product can be 300 times sweeter than sugar yet contain no calories. Yet while many of these artificial sweeteners claim to be calorie-free, we know nothing is free in this world, and free always comes with a cost, and that cost is your health. That is why I would like to share with you today why I believe aspartame should not be federally approved for human consumption. I would like to discuss three main elements as to why aspartame is harmful to the health of humans. First, aspartame contributes to high obesity rates. It is a toxin, and lastly, it can cause abnormal behavior, disorder, and even cancer. Today, 1 in 3 Americans are obese, with many people using aspartame with the thought that they can reduce sugar with aspartame to reduce their calorie consumption. In a study done by scientists at Purdue University, they compared weight gain and eating habits in rats whose diets were supplemented with artificially sweetened food. Laboratory rats were fed with artificially sweetened yogurt over a 2-week period, consumed more calories and gained more weight than animals using yogurt flavored with glucose, a natural high-calorie sweetener. A University of Texas Health Science survey in 2005 found that people who drink diet soft drinks may actually gain weight. In that study, for every can of diet soda people consumed each day, there was a 41% increase risk of being overweight. This high amount of sweetness your brain believes is glucose reacts by stimulating the pancreas to secrete insulin to lower glucose levels. This, in fact, causes blood sugar levels to fall below normal, leading to a serious condition known as hypoglycemia. The brain's preferred source of energy is derived from glucose, and when blood sugars fall too low, the brain panics and sends out a craving message, leading to more eating. Aspartame has 3 main ingredients: aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methanol. Once aspartame enters the small intestines, methanol is released and absorbed into the body. Methanol is then metabolized to formaldehyde, an embalming fluid. Due to its low excretion rate, the EPA considers methanol a cumulative poison. It is recommended that its consumption of methanol be limited to 7.8 milligrams per day. One diet beverage can contains nearly double this. Aspartame has also been linked to over 92 different associated health conditions. In a study conducted by the Rasmussen Foundation in Bologna, Italy, they tested more than 4,000 rats with aspartame that showed a lifetime of eating high doses of artificial sweetener raised the likelihood of several types of cancer, including benign brain tumors. Besides being linked to weight gain, aspartame has also been linked to depression, headaches, and cancer, with many scientists attesting that cancer cannot be present with phenylalanine, aspartame's main ingredient. Phenylalanine also decomposes into a molecular compound known as DKP, a known carcinogen, when exposed to warm temperatures or prolonged storage. The formaldehyde that formed from the methanol has been found to cause negative side effects such as headaches, joint pain, memory loss, hearing loss, vision problems, seizure, fatigue, and muscle fatigue. As with many conditions, they are more susceptible to smokers, children, and pregnant women. Significant research has gone into the study of aspartame, with 166 studies felt to have relevance for questions of human safety. 74 of these studies had NutraSweet industry-related funding, and 92 were independently funded. 100% of the industry-funded research attested to aspartame's safety, whereas 92% of the independently funded research identified a problem. The best way I believe to approach aspartame would be to avoid it altogether. instead of risking one's health just to cut back on a few calories. So in conclusion, I urge all of you to consider the next time before you have a drink of that Diet Coke or chew that piece of sugar-free gum, because it may not be harmful to you now, but it could very well harm you in the next 30 years from now. Thank you.
All right, I thought you did a good job setting up some background on the subject. Your proposition starts off as a claim of policy, and then it's followed by a claim of fact, so that's a little bit confusing. Focus on the factual issue, because that's really where your argument ends up being developed. The main points were highlighted in a preview, and that was clear. When you got to those points in the body of the speech, I thought you signposted the first point very clearly. I didn't think it was as clear on the later points, and that was a little bit problematic. Your basic explanations on the issue were fine, and the delivery and your use of sources helps establish some credibility. The statistical data that you have is interesting. Remember that you need to cite those sources a little bit more completely. The Purdue study that you cited first. Later on, we've got the Italian study. The EPA standard, for instance, I thought was okay. This sounds like factual data, but again, give us a source site on it, where we could locate that information. I thought that there are a lot of general claims being made at the end. It's like the end of every ad that sells some medication, look for all the side effects, and then they list all the negative things that can happen. And I think that goes a little bit overboard. I thought you were better kind of explaining, for instance, the way it contributes to obesity and what some of the cancer risks might be. I thought the methane argument, for instance, as a cumulative toxin was probably a good one. Everything else seems to be, I think, a little underdeveloped, and it's just, like I said, that sort of checkoff list. The one thing that I think maybe is missing from the argument is a little bit more contrast to the substitute. For instance, you say, you're taking all these risks in order to avoid a little sugar, but is it really just a little sugar that people are trying to avoid? The obesity issue, you do have an argument where you're trying to argue that it contributes to obesity, but the origins of all those products, of course, are the opposite, so it's always one of those points of view kinds of things. We're going to talk about cause-effect stuff when we get going on the material right after this anyway, so that'll be a good place to talk about that. Hopefully I'll remember this as an example.